Welcome out to the Nerd Effect podcast, episode number 13. We are here on a semi-late Sunday evening.
Yeah, we've had good old bizarro weather in Boise all day.
Yeah, there's been a lot of bizarre things happening today, to be honest with you. For those of you who've been paying attention to the Facebook page, you also know that we're a man, or should I say woman, short.
Yes.
Our fourth host, Nikki, had some family emergencies to deal with her pup.
Yes.
So
her puppy is sick, and it's very sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she has to stay home, tend to her fur baby.
Yes.
So it's going to be the three of us tonight. We're going to quickly change the subject. We've been pondering for about the last hour here on what we're going to do for the show, and kind of bullshitting at the same time. But
we think we have something.
Yes,
but don't hold us to that.
Yeah.
So let's get right back.
So if this crash and burns, are you guys going to blame me for this?
Probably.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. We're going to start off with some feedback sent to us from Brian Kuffel.
Okay, you can stop that now,
Okay.
seriously.
All right. Our boy Brian is back in response to our episode last week, which we were talking about zombie survival tactics. So here goes Brian. Hosts! Holy crap balls, the last 2 weeks has been busy. Sorry I didn't get you all an email for the last show, but I was up to my eyeballs in random stuff, including re-enlisting for the last time and signing my life away to the Army indefinitely. For those who are curious, that means I have to ask the Army to let me out if I want to quit before the year 2028. I believe that's what's known as career military.
Yep, that is career military there.
All right.
Good luck with that.
Yes.
The last episode has moved Nikki to my favorite person, quote-unquote, status. As soon as she mentioned the podcast We're Live, which, by the way, I listen to, too. I believe I made that very clear. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, but Nikki's more awesome than you are.
I knew for sure she was awesome. By far one of my favorite shows to listen to. I had a road trip from the middle, not kidding, of Texas to Sierra Vista a few months back, and I listened to nearly all 3 seasons over the span of 2 months. I'm not sure which role I would play in that show, but I connect a lot with Michael, because I am also an MI specialist, but a real one, not a crappy all-source 35F Foxtrot that he is.
Whatever that means to us non-military folk there, Copel.
We're citizens. Or not citizens.
We're citizens.
Oh, I'm ex-military.
But you're looking for some
pedestrian, civilian,
yeah. All right.
What?
Well, I'm ex-military.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Did you understand anything he just said?
I don't remember that MLS. I was a 92 Yankee. I was a 63 Juliet, and those are the only ones I remember because I was them.
Oh.
But I haven't been in since 97, so yeah, I haven't kept up on it.
Okay. I am also an NCO like he is, and good at the whole management thing.
That's a non-commissioned officer, in case you didn't know.
Oh, well, hey, look. Learned something. At least I learned something.
Oh, okay, I was like, you seriously didn't know that?
No.
Wow, okay.
I know next to nothing
if you're
about
not in the military, you have no need to know.
True. But NCOs, non-commissioned officers, that's like a common one.
I'm not going to point any fingers on that one.
Okay.
Because I didn't know until I was in the military.
Okay. I knew in high school, but I was also in ROTC.
Well, see, you had
And I was an NCO.
Yeah. Okay.
In ROTC, so. Yeah.
Okay. Did we even introduce ourselves today?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Oh. We'll do that after the email.
Okay.
Wow.
If you don't know who we are by now, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Or it's your first episode that you're listening to, and we should introduce ourselves just in case. However, we'll let...
What do you mean they got to be courteous?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Right in the
we
middle
will
of his
finish
email,
Copel's
though.
email first, and then we will...
Yes,
do the
because we already
email
started on it.
Right.
I apologize. We'll get there. It's been a weird day, people. We apologize. As for my survival plan, I constantly have to update mine due to moving every few years. If it happens while I'm here in San Angelo, I feel it would be fairly easy to survive. First off, I live in the middle of Texas, where everyone has a gun. Secondly, you cannot get here on accident. San Angelo is located in the middle of nowhere and has a population under 100,000. We should have plenty of notice before all shit breaks loose here. I would first gather my family, grab my landlord, his wife, and as many of the 3 packed full gun safes as we can, and head on to our relatively small base. I work in a 3-story building with no windows, emergency power generators, and the only way to get in is with both a badge and finger scanner. No worry about zombies somehow getting in unless the door is propped open. The building has roof access from the inside from the observation. From the inside and observations and sniping. There are plenty of fridges and microwaves throughout the building to keep and cook food, and each door can be locked with an ID card if previously granted access like I have. Okay, trying to read. Keep tripping on my own words here. Obviously, every survival plan is only short-term in nature unless you can create a secure, self-sustaining colony. That's where your plan kind of came in,
yes.
I guess. Was
I think about those kind of things, survival of the species.
Like hanging people from branches. And
only the statistical outliers of bad naughtiness.
Yes. One of my zombie apocalypse nightmares is being called up in the military by seniors who have no idea that what they are doing or having my life put at risk. Luckily, I am senior enough myself that I have some say in the matter usually. If I have my way and get to move to Alaska next, I would feel even safer in a Z-POC scenario with the whole it being freezing cold and desolate there. I would also feel safe in Idaho since the average population density for the state is 1 person per square mile. The chances of zombie herds are less in these areas, plus I would have you guys to join the assist. I am a decent shot with both rifle and shotgun. Turns out I'm actually a decent shot with a shotgun myself.
Nice.
Rifle I kind of suck at, but give me close enough to something, I'll pop its head. I was a Boy Scout at one time and grew up in Idaho, so survival in the outdoors is nothing new to me. And I am an expert in land navigation and in the usual soldiering skills, and I should have no trouble finding a place in a zombie survival team. By the way, stop picking on Bowers so much. I mean, really, we have a chevron? Q Mason's explanation if needed. Now that I have taken up so much of your show with this letter, I will leave you to continue the show. Best regards, Brian. All right, so we have a chevron, according to Bowers.
Yes, many, many years ago.
I wonder if he's ever going to listen to this show.
I hope so.
Or
more correctly, I hope his wife Heather listens to it.
We've spent the last 3 or 4 episodes just saying we're going to off him in the zombie apocalypse.
I never said I was going to off Bowers in the zombie apocalypse. Just shoot him in the leg. If he can still manage to live, cool.
You pretty much 99.9% sentenced him to his death.
There's always a chance.
Don't worry, bro. I'm still got your back.
Because he's a bra.
Bruh.
So, anyway. Josh used to live in a... Bowers, used to live in a little town called Horseshoe Bend. It is as small as you think it is from its name. And one day, and a former girlfriend of mine and I were just decided to take a road trip, drive up north in Idaho, and basically when we got hungry, stop and have a picnic lunch that we packed. And we did. It was a fun day. It was a nice day. And when on our way back, we were both, getting a little thirsty. So we were close to home. We were getting near Horseshoe Bend. And we stopped because there was a chevron right on the main drag on the highway as you were going through Horseshoe Bend. So we stopped there, didn't think anything of it, and got drinks and finished our trip back. And then we, got together with some of our other friends, including Bowers, and he, for some reason he asked where we had gotten our drinks. So we're like, oh, yeah, we stopped in Horseshoe Bend at the Chevron. And he goes, we had a Chevron? He was like totally blown away by the fact that Horseshoe Bend finally had a Chevron. So he's never, ever going to be able to live that down.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Horseshoe Bend is like a grand total population of maybe 400 people.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's like you fart and you pass through it. You can see it's a little town down in the valley as you're coming up over the main drag on Highway 55. But yeah, it's a fart in the breeze, and then you're right onto your main trip.
Yeah,
but I like Horseshoe Bend though. It's a fun little town to just kind of.
I've never been anywhere in Horseshoe Bend except for the Chevron.
There's really no other place you need to go.
Okay.
Luckily, Boise's close enough that you could just make the 40-minute trip to Boise. Yeah, Horseshoe Bend. There's not much going on there.
Yep.
Anyway, would not recommend it for a long-term stay unless you really want to absolutely isolate yourself. Which for the zombie apocalypse, probably worth your time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So.
See, or unless you want to be a rancher or a farmer.
Intro time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who are we? Well, I personally.
Who are these sons of bitches talking to you
That's right
now?
See, personally, I am Mason Ireland.
Wow, could you say that any sexier?
Probably, but I'm not going to bother trying.
And I'm Dustin VanCour.
Okay, that's going over from like sexy to Quagmire, but
hey,
yo, yeah. So that leaves me, Michael Morgan, the other guy.
Just the other guy.
The other guy.
It's like the other white meat.
He happens to show. He just happens to show up for the podcast. Like we actually never invited him. He just showed up one day and.
Hey guys, is this the mic? Can I talk in it?
Oh man. Anyway, so now that we've improperly introduced ourselves, now that I'm sure I've made you feel dirty,
in all the right ways.
Man, our audience is so going to need a shower after this.
I know.
And we're just starting.
That's right.
Oh man.
All right.
So
on that improper note, shall we move on to the
news?
News. We has news.
All right, I'm gonna start with Mike's.
Mine?
Do you want to start with yours?
Yeah, I can start with mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I got my thing up here.
Explain to us Hyperloop prototype.
Yeah, this is just a little article I kind of ran across. So basically, this company is looking to get what they call a Hyperloop prototype ready by 2015 sometime. So basically, what I'm gathering on this is it's going to be a type of transport that uses a tube to transport a vehicle at up to 700 miles per hour. So it kind of reminds me of the old vacuum tube system they used, where they had the little capsule that you'd put like the documents or
like
the
banks
had
stuff.
to check and all that. Stick it in the tube and it sucks it up the tube and moves it inside. Basically, a really big version of that.
Or like when
that has so many levels of awesome.
Yeah,
because I want to ride in one really bad. Of course, I want a vacuum tube system in a house that I live in. Just no good purpose, just to have one. So I
kind of like wanting to have a dumbwaiter in your house.
Yeah.
No real reason to have one. Just I want one.
Yeah,
I don't even have a basement. Like I just want to be able to drop stuff into my crawl space.
Okay.
So basically, they got this a new company, Hyperloop Transportation Technologies Inc., and they're looking to set up or have the demonstration prototype ready by first quarter 2015.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, just kind of found this one article, found the cost. It didn't have a whole lot of details. From what it's looking like, it's probably some sort of like a maglev kind of technology. So transport vehicle inside with seating for passengers, and then the tube itself didn't look like, from the dimensions, it doesn't look like it would be tall enough for a person to stand up fully. I mean, it's kind of like really small, so it's kind of weird. But in theory, you would have these tubes going cross country.
Right.
And you could get from one coast to the other very quickly.
Which would be awesome.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like, well, if one of the tubes is broke open, you're going 700 miles an hour. that's a pretty serious impact.
You really wouldn't feel it, actually.
Yeah.
You would just disintegrate at that point.
Plus, I'm sure the tubes would be made out of some pretty resistant materials.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of...
Or buried would
Yeah.
be one of the other things is they probably bury them.
My thing is that
yeah.
they have they've
Earthquake.
talked in the past of creating, at least even here in Boise, a monorail system of some sort.
Right.
But like I'm just trying to figure out like how would this go? How would you go about building something like this across country? Like that seems like
Same way we built railroads and the same way we built the international or the interstate freeway system. Massive manpower doing it. I mean, we've done it before, basically. I mean, with those two
it
projects.
seems like a whole lot of work
It is a whole
for
lot.
something that we already have in place.
We don't have something like that in place.
Not
700 miles
specifically
an
like that. Well, we got planes. I
hour
mean,
that are horrible for the environment, wasteful of fuel, and are really, really expensive to run because of the amount of maintenance required for planes. Granted, I like the planes when I am on them have the amount of maintenance they do. I appreciate it. You know,
so you're just saying like maybe restrict
so-
planes to international.
It would be...
well, you wouldn't have to, but like, I think like something like this, or high-speed rail, or even moderate speed rail, I guess you could call it. Maybe not as fast as like the Japanese or European rail systems, but much faster than our standard rail systems. You know, maybe hitting 200 miles an hour would be great for reducing like the amount of pollutants in the air from airplanes and stuff, because it would be very easy to go to relatively short distances on rail systems. And okay, I'd have to admit I kind of have a love affair with trains. I like the idea of them. I always have, but like, you know, okay, how much does a plane ticket to Seattle cost? Like $200 now, usually on average. Well, if you could cut it down to like $7,500 for a high-speed rail ticket, because you also got to think trains can move a whole lot more people at once because of their size. To go to Seattle for the weekend, I'm just picking Seattle because it's relatively close to Boise, and I have a friend
Or Portland.
but you know, I have a friend that lives in Seattle, so
I have family in Seattle.
you know, so like, you know, it'd be great. I'm here in Boise, you know, I want to get away for a long, you know, I got a long, you know, 3 or 4 day weekend coming up. You know, I could hop on the train, head out to Seattle for a few days, you know, hang out with a friend, you know, visit, head back home for a lot less expense than I would if I had to take a plane to do that. And, you know, okay, the journey may take 4 hours instead of, you know, the 1.5 it takes in a plane, but sitting on a train, you know, with a nice beverage, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, you choose, looking out the window at the scenery just rushing by, I think that would be fun.
I think it would be too.
So,
Especially if they turned it into something. See, that's where the tube thing kind of scares me though, because
Yeah.
it's
Well, you gotta
really
think that-
restricted. You're just
yeah, but
Yeah.
like at least give
blasting underground at 700 miles an hour to get to DC in like, you know, 4 hours, that would be awesome.
that would be pretty badass.
I would thoroughly enjoy that too.
At least I would hope that they would have like movie screens in front of you or something, just so you could have something to entertain yourself with. But
Like a first-person Tron light cycle sequence the whole time.
LOL. LOL. Man.
either way, I think it's cool. Anything that involves new technology, I was just you know questioning the.
Well, yeah, I mean,
The
and
option
that's what
of
I'm
it,
thinking
but-
about too. Is like, I mean, yeah, it's basically like a high-speed subway,
Yeah.
but you know, you got to keep in mind things like, you know, if an earthquake happens and the tube gets broken in half, you know, what kind of safety mechanism are they going to have in case of something like this going on? You know,
Oh, I'm sure they would have. I'm sure they
So-
would have things they could do.
Yeah, this thing would not come to a halt very quick.
Well, you could make it come to a halt if it is using maglev technology. You could make it come to a halt really quickly.
Sure, it's
A little
more
too quickly.
liquefy your passengers.
A little too quickly is the problem.
yeah,
Whenever you build underground, like even subway systems that are in place in cities nowadays, you know, like there's BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit in the in the San Francisco Bay Area. Everyone there pretty much knows that if you're on BART and a big earthquake hits, you're kind of screwed. But you know, we accept it and we move on. It's just, I mean, that's just part of it.
That's just a risk you take.
It's just the risk you take. And even though the likelihood
What's
of
to stop a plane from dropping out of the sky? What's to
yeah.
stop the ground from coming out from underneath you when you're in a
If it's
car?
that big an earthquake,
Or
you're
what's-
going to be on the surface. You're going to be pretty much screwed anyway.
Right. Yeah.
What's to stop a building from falling on you? Or,
Right. It's-
there's a number of
you
things.
There's just hazards in life, and some things you just can't prevent. So to me, I would not be that worried about like earthquakes or anything if I was taking it. And I'm sure they'd have mechanisms. And if you're at the epicenter or where the tunnel's collapsing, you're just as screwed as if you would be if you were on a subway. And if the tubes, they could have mechanisms to slow them down. I wouldn't worry about it.
Bam.
And I want to go 700 miles an hour underground. That would be awesome.
Man.
I'm just curious what the risk factor is compared to planes and cars and stuff like that.
Well, I think
Well,
first they need
compared
to
to
get the
cars,
prototype
probably
and
quite
test
low.
it.
That's
Yeah,
true.
cars definitely better than cars.
Yeah. Cars are one of our hands down worst form of transportation when it comes to safety.
Not to mention, you could probably electronically monitor a rail system a lot better than you could. Obviously, your own vehicle, because that's man powered, and Lord knows any jackass can just veer into an oncoming lane. I seen it. Not really.
Go ahead.
But
Pull it in front of me. I don't
never
feel like
have
hitting my
to.
brakes this time. Wait,
Yes.
what?
I had a friend once tell me the only reason that any of us are alive on this planet right now is because everybody else in the world decided to consciously not kill you today.
It's not a conscious decision, but in effect, you can look at it like that, but it's a pretty dour way of looking at it.
Yeah, but I thought it was an interesting concept. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, you don't know that car in front of you is going to just not veer to the left and say, well, I'm going to end it today.
Yeah.
You just never see it coming. It's kind of a scary thought. That's for different.
That's for the existentialism episode, boys and girls.
Dope.
Okay, so Hyperloop technology. Awesome. Let's do it. Why not?
Yeah.
And wasn't there something they were going to crowdsource finance it too or something like that, weren't they? Or
No,
try and get some
it
sort of...
Wasn't clear on that. The author of the story that I saw was on a blog, and
Yeah.
he didn't have any
About CNET.
details. He was speculating.
Yeah.
But,
I would say it's too big of a project for crowdsourcing, really.
Well, if you
Sure.
wanted to start it small and local, I mean...
But you would have to get everyone in that city to basically crowdsource it.
But from what it was looking like, the two people mentioned in the article were basically successful business people, like
Okay.
SpaceX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so they probably have financing already in place. There's also suspecting that they, as far as production and development on the prototype, they've already been shaking hands with people and got the ball rolling already. Because otherwise, first quarter 2015.
Yeah.
That's quick.
Yeah, that's slightly more than a year away. That's not very
Yeah.
long, especially to develop an even part, full scale, not from coast to coast or whatever, but a long enough piece of track that, and
Yeah, it's 700
a
miles
vehicle
per hour.
people could ride in at 700 miles an hour.
Whatever
you
happened
would-
to our space elevator?
That's
They're impractical.
still in theory.
Durr. That's a fun idea. But I just heard something
The
that they
idea
were
is-
actually going to do it, though, at one point, weren't they?
They've had a lot
It's
of
still-
designs.
Yeah, it's still feasible.
Sorry, I just totally derailed that subject. But
Yeah,
I
no, it's
mean,
still feasible. It's just the they were doing the what is it called? The tubes, the carbon tubes.
The the monofilaments.
Yeah,
What about?
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's the material they were looking at trying to make. But of course, part of that too is you got to come up with how many kilometers worth of cable
Yeah.
to be able to get up that high, and that's a lot of manufacturing. So,
And carbon nanotubes are
yeah,
still very difficult to make.
yeah. So mainly, it's going to be a matter of production on that. We have the theoretical technology we need to do it, but the actual being able to produce it is still needing to be worked on. So once they can get that I mean, once they get to the part where they can get the cable up, the rest of it's going to be frickin' cake. Making the actual vehicle to climb the cable and all that, having the other end of the station in orbit, that's all easy in comparison to that.
Yeah.
We're actually getting responses for our new topic.
All right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Anyway.
We will get to those later.
We'll get to those.
Okay.
So do you want me to split my news stories up because I have 3 of them, or do you want to just have me rant at the end?
Which one do you want to talk about first? You go.
Okay.
Go for one. I'll do mine, and then we'll come back.
All right. So, this first one, for those of you who might not have heard, on Saturday, there was a little event called Extra Life, where gamers got together and gamed for, for last Saturday, 25 hours, 8 a.m. on Saturday to 8 a.m. on Sunday. Funny, Daylight Savings Time was also yesterday. To raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. It is a good cause. Actually, I think that we here at Nerd Effect should probably look at doing something next year since we'll be more established.
Fuck yes. I have been looking at doing something like this for a long time. Like, we could even do it at our... Because apparently St. Luke's is now a part of the... of
Child's Play?
Child's Play.
Okay.
So we could even do something at any time for that, you know? So,
okay. Well, we will look into that, too.
But Extra Life would be fun, too, because then you could interact with people. And
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, but yesterday, some of the most epic douchebags on the planet decided to do a distributed denial of service attack, or DDoS attack, on Extra Life's website yesterday. Why you would attack a charity that helps children around the world recover from diseases and serious accidents, I don't know. I mean, the amount of absolute douchebaggery it takes to do that, it just is astonishing to me. I can't, I mean, like, I understand we don't necessarily agree with all charities that are out there or how they run things, but one that gives 100% of all the money they raise to charity for children, yeah, that's an epic amount of douchebaggery to disrupt their site so they can't take donations for a while. That, yeah, I have a lot I want to say about it, but it involves a lot of expletive deleted type situations, so I'm not going to bother.
Yeah,
let's just say I'm very angry at these people.
I watched part of the live stream after the initial one was announced, and I think the head guy, Adam, I think is his name, just like the amount of frustration in that man's face on the live stream, like he was just ready to friggin' throw the camera through the TV, you know, like he just. Luckily, I guess a lot of people, the people who are actually working to raise the money, are the ones that calmed him. Like, you know, don't worry about it. We'll keep raising money. We'll do the best we can on our end. Just try and get the site back online.
Yeah, and
that was a epic move for just like the gaming community everywhere. You know, don't fuck with kids, man.
Yeah.
Or gamers. But I like to think that the gaming community is, pretty well, rounded. Like, we're good people for the most part. And when something like that happens, it's just some people are assholes.
Yeah,
it's hard. You can't really do anything about it except just try and correct the problem and make sure it doesn't happen again next time.
Yeah.
Their team was obviously all over it. I mean, the site came back up like within an hour. I mean, it wasn't out for that long. It actually happened twice.
Yes. And
the second time it was within minutes they got it back up, but because they I think they had prepared themselves.
Right.
But the first time, it put people into a scramble pretty quick. One of his comments was, he's like, you can't see him off camera, but some of my technicians, there's like quite literally smoke flying off their fingers right now. You can't see it, but they're working hard over there, I promise. So, it was pretty interesting to watch. Not on any good level, but just the fact that it happened is kind of just bullshit. Yeah, but I love kids.
Yeah,
I have one of my own, And if my child was at any point ever going to benefit from a charity like that, I would hunt them down.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, that's
End rant.
End rant. That's my first one. I needed to call those douchebags out. I doubt that any of them are going to hear the Other Nerd Effect podcast, but still needed to be done.
Yes. Anyway, anything on that? Anything else? Just epic douchebaggery.
Epic douchebaggery. Yep.
Fuck people that do that. And yeah. Also, not all hackers are bad people either. I just want to put that out there as well.
Yes.
Just these guys in particular, just fucking douchebags. Oh, his last name is Adams.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Honestly, I expect it's probably just a bunch of script kiddies who got a hold of the script to do DDoS attacks and did it. I don't think it was even what you would consider professional hackers.
In fact, let's just read it. Here's the original story. Extra Life. It's just a couple paragraphs long. This is from Joystick's website. It just says the original story. Extra Life, a charity organization which raises money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, has had its website come under a DDoS attack. According to a post to the organization's Facebook page, Jeremy Adams, founder and the director of Extra Life, repeatedly apologized for the issue and asked for fans to spread the word on every form of social media they could. He quotes, "I am not sure what kind of person would DDoS a charitable initiative," Adams wrote. "I am so sorry that you are going through this frustration today. Our entire team is purely heartbroken that someone would do this, but it has happened. As frustrating as this is for everyone, it pales in comparison to what the kids we're trying to save go through. That reality, for me personally, is about the only thing keeping me somewhat calm right now." Posts on group's Facebook page say that the page has been returned to normal and is now up and running, but as of this writing, it still seems to be experiencing difficulties. And then it updated a couple times. It went under a second attack, and they went live again a little bit later in the night. So, anyway.
Yep.
Fuck the hackers, man.
Fuck those guys. Not hackers in general.
Well, these specific hackers.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, all right, let's just move on to a happier, funnier news article.
Yes.
So if you bought a Dell laptop recently, specifically, what was the model? The E6430U, you may have smelled something a little awkward.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny. What sucks is that they never specifically said what it was. I imagine it's probably something along the lines of electric burn, because it kind of gives that same smell off, but I imagine it's on a different level. There's probably some liquid in there. Anyway, anybody who ordered this specific model of laptop apparently had been complaining repeatedly, and it just wasn't one customer. It was any customer who bought this thing, that they said that their laptop was quite literally smelled like cat urine.
Which is one of the most pleasant smells ever.
Yeah, and not a great. This one, actually, I want to point out, was actually brought up by our buddies over at Social Geek. If you ever get a chance, go follow their Facebook page. They post a lot of fun stuff. And I couldn't help it. I straight up was like, I got to use this for our new segment. So let's see. Dell was offering to replace them.
As they should.
Yes. So as they were getting them, they were sending new ones out, saying that the smell shouldn't be there anymore. Even though, I guess, as of this the time of this post, as of October 30th, I guess people, even who were getting replacements, had been through like their fourth or fifth laptop and were still getting cat piss smell out of it.
Wow.
Coming right off the keyboard. So, but anyway, I don't know what would cause something like that, but it is hilarious. Like, I can't imagine, like, if you ever smelt something just burn out on you, like an electric burn, I imagine it's probably something along that line. Maybe a component was overheating or something and just causing something to smell that way, but I can't imagine it would smell specifically like cat urine. That is insane.
The only thing I can think of, and I can't think of like the specific chemicals, would be like if there was like chemical residue on a board or on a part, and because laptops get really hot, it was causing it to
vaporize
and get into the air, and That's the only thing I could think of.
But what chemical do you know that smells like cat piss?
Well, cat piss, but I can't think of another one. But there are some pretty. I mean, like Mike and I both used to work with electronics, and there are some pretty nasty smelling chemicals that we worked with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm just, I'm feeling a little giddy just picturing some stray cat in their warehouse somewhere,
Just marking its territory on motherboards and stuff.
Yeah. The Dell cat running around, spraying everything.
I bet its name was Schrodinger.
Oh,
Heyo.
Lol.
Mason's got his Schrodinger shirt on.
one of them.
Yeah, one. But so you got more than one Schrodinger shirt?
Well, this is the one that says Schrodinger's cat is dead on one side, and says on the other it says Schrodinger's cat is not dead. I also have one that is Schrodinger's equation shaped like a cat.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask me to do the equation. I'm not that good at math. I'm good, but not that good.
And then I'll just get my other one quick out of the way. Paul Gerke is a local news station caster, sportscaster here on Channel 6 and Channel 9, which is, I think, our local ABC and Fox affiliate.
Yes.
And he's a sportscaster for both those channels. And he, for Halloween, went as Ron Burgundy on air and fucking played it immaculately on live television for like 10 minutes or so, just played out his entire newscast as Ron Burgundy, and it was friggin' brilliant. It got recognized by some pretty cool people. Chris Hardwick from Nerdist was the one that stuck out the most to me, because I'm a big Chris Hardwick fanboy, and just to know that level of awesome came out of Boise is pretty damn cool.
Yep.
I mean, that's like Aaron Paul status, to me anyway. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. You should go. I'll have the video posted at the bottom of our post. And did I just say I'll have the post at the bottom of our post? I will have the YouTube video ready to play at the bottom of the post on the Nerd Effect website.
There you go.
Bam.
There. Bam. And I guess that leaves us with one more. Oh, Mason's got two more.
Two more.
We're stretching the news out today.
Hey, this is all good stuff, I think.
All right, do it.
All right, next one. Well, for those who care about the Xbox One, PS4 debate, people have been, reviewers have been starting to be able to play games on both of the systems now, pre-release, and a couple of them that they got to play were Battlefield 4 and Call of Duty Ghosts or whatever.
Ghosts.
Yeah, Ghosts.
Which, by the way, has an amazing commercial out right now that's got Megan Fox in it, and it's pretty awesome. But anyway, go ahead.
However, you might be wanting to try to find Megan Fox on your PS4 from the sound of it, not your Xbox One. For both of those games, the Xbox One, I'm being very clear, this is the Xbox One, not the Xbox 360, is having to run at 720p to get 60 frames per second on both of those games. The PS4 is getting 60 frames per second at 1080p on Call of Duty. And it's getting 60 frames per second at 900 something, a weird half-step resolution on Battlefield 4. And this makes sense because on Battlefield 4 is a much more graphically detailed game than Call of Duty is.
Agreed.
So, it makes sense that you're going to have to downgrade your resolution a little bit for Battlefield 4, especially here at the beginning of these consoles' life cycle. And because, a lot of hardcore gamers are going to be the ones that have the high-end, among other people, but a lot of hardcore gamers are going to have the high-end televisions if they can afford them. They're going to want the 1080p at 60 frames per second. This may start to cause, I think this may be yet another possible nail, in the Xbox One's coffin. Because if, you have hardcore Xbox fans out there, but if you can't provide them with the experiences and games that they want, especially in multi-party game, third-party developer games that are going everywhere, why would you want to get an Xbox One if it can't provide you the same resolution as a PS4 at the same frame rates of 60 frames per second.
Well, this brings up and
obviously PCs are blowing both of them out of the water, doing higher resolutions at 60 or 120 frames per second with the correct PCs.
Well, this brings up the old argument: do you have to have a high resolution game to actually enjoy what you're playing?
Well, no, you don't. But if you have the choice, if you really don't care about any of the exclusive games, the games that are only going to come out for PS4 or Xbox One, why would you not want to get the best possible experience by having the system that can run them the same game, same experience, but just with higher quality graphics on it too?
What if you're geared toward the Xbox controller versus the PS4 controller, or maybe you like the layout, or maybe you like the networking options it offers you versus PS4. Those might be.
Well, the networking options.
I'm just throwing stuff out.
Okay, it's like I'm pretty sure you can plug a RJ45 into the back of either of them. And they're both obviously.
Well, I meant like the store and stuff maybe. Like that. So I mean,
but I would be if I had the choice of buying one of them, and I knew that the third-party games were the only games I cared about, I would want the best possible play on the games. And I am a person that I do like the Xbox 360 controller better than the PlayStation 3 controller. However, if the PlayStation 4 does everything better, I would get over it. And,
plus the PS4 controller is looking pretty sweet.
Plus from everything I've heard, the PS4 controller is leaps and bounds better than any other controller that Sony's ever done.
Mm-hmm. Or we can just wait for Steambox.
We could just wait for the Steambox.
But it's only ever had one controller.
There have always been differences between each generation's controllers. They're minor.
But the shape has never changed.
Right. Mm-hmm. But on this one, they've changed the balance better. They've changed the balance from what I've heard, and it's a lot more comfortable to hold.
Right. Well, it's the first physical, molding change for sure.
Yeah. Except for adding of the analog sticks.
Yeah, the PS1 didn't have analog sticks when it first came out.
I would say that's the only thing I still don't like about the layout of the PS4 controller over the Xbox One controller is I would rather have that analog, the D-pad, the left analog stick, and the D-pad switch places.
Mm-hmm. I know that there's third-party controllers that do that, but...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, with third-party controllers, you got to see, who's making the good ones before
Yeah.
It's just, this is just one more thing is with the resolution, and especially in games like Battlefield and Call of Duty, graphic fidelity is important because the more I can see, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think especially on first-person shooter game, not that I'm into the military first-person shooters, but that's kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be a big deal to a lot of the people who play those games too, and they might be making that decision right now. Which one do I get? So, yeah.
So I'm curious. Did they have any numbers on the Xbox One on 1080? Like how many frames it was getting on 1080p?
You can't. The game tells it what resolution output at.
Oh.
So they're going for frames per second over resolution.
Okay, so even if you hook it up to a 1080p, it's showing it at
720p.
I gotcha.
Which will still look fine on a 1080p television, but if you put 1080p versus 720p side by side, you can see the difference between the two.
Oh yeah,
on a big screen TV.
Yeah, on a big enough screen.
Yeah, if it was like a 32-inch or smaller, you probably wouldn't notice much of a difference.
Right. And then on computer monitors, you can see the differences fairly easily. But, computer monitors, you have ones that run up to, what's being called 4D television.
All the native resolutions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That are...
But, you already have computer monitors that are, quote-unquote 4D televisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you have the graphics fidelity to drive a game at those kind of resolutions, dude, can I borrow your computer for a little while? I mean, that's a lot of video cards running with a lot of video RAM attached to them. So
I still really want to see what the Steam box can do.
yeah, but it's not going to be. I mean, it's going into beta testing sometime next year.
Sorry, Steam Machine.
I like Steambox better still. But
it does ring a lot.
It
better.
rings better.
It does ring better.
I mean, I get Steam Machine and the kind of the pun going on there, the joke, but I just like Steambox better.
Okay, just to be different, I'm going to start calling it the Steam Gigolo.
Don't. Please. I may
You're
stop
gonna
acknowledging
strap a
your
dildo
existence.
to the front of it, aren't you?
That you give me the idea.
Jesus.
And moving on.
Okay, there's our step too far. I have crossed it. I will admit this.
Yeah, I brought it up.
But I still want to see what Steambox will do. Plus that controller, like, I really want to get my hands on one of those controllers and try it out. They're totally intriguing to me. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Haptic feedback.
Yes.
All right. You had one more?
I have one more. This is just my happiness today on a personal note. As many of you may have heard, many of you may not have heard. I don't know. Today was November 3rd, was the YouTube Music Awards. And Video of the Year was won by Girls' Generation for their video for the song I Got a Boy. And it just goes to show you that, happiness, and don't let the so-ons directly vote on things, because Girls' Generation will win because we show up en masse.
And there you have it.
Yes. Or let us vote, and Girls' Generation will just win more shit.
Do they? I mean, was there any? I never watched the YouTube Video Music Award.
This is the first one.
But I mean, I didn't watch it. But
Yeah.
Did they get anything for?
Their statue for the
award.
The award is actually pretty cool. It's I don't know what it's made out of, but it's a 3D YouTube play button. It's it's shaped like it. Shaped like
inflated square looking shape.
yeah, and like the play triangle is engraved into it, and it's white, and then it's like the rest of it is kind of like a metallic red. It's actually kind of cool looking award.
Okay.
I mean, so it's just recognition. They don't get actually like any sort of like, here's cash, or we're going to feature your video for a month, or.
Well, of course they're not getting cash. It's like an award show.
That's true.
Think the Emmys or Oscars or whatever. They don't get cash for winning those.
That's true, I guess. Hopefully, it'll inflate some careers.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, for the ones I saw, it was like a lot of these people already have pretty good, solid careers going on. For the 3 awards that I saw, Macklemore won one of them, and he has a career going now, so no worries there. Lindsey Sterling, and her career is doing great now, no worries there. And Girls' Generation, who, their career is doing just fine, thanks. So far there hasn't really been, any groundbreaking ones as far as career altering stuff. Those are the 3 awards I got to see. So,
well, it is in its infancy.
It is in its infancy, and it's also, I was paying attention mostly to the bigger awards. I didn't, I was kind of wandering around as I was watching it, doing other stuff too. So, but yeah. So anyway, yes, happiness.
Well, very good.
Power to the J-pop.
K-pop. K, not J. I should
My bad.
beat you so hard.
JK.
Oh.
All right. Well, that concludes our news topics for this evening. A lot of news going on. Crazy stuff.
Yep.
Certain hackers are douchebags. Your Dell might smell like cat piss. And your favorite K-pop band might win something on YouTube.
Yes.
And a monorail monorail tube vacuum thing could possibly be built in the near future. Or at least a prototype.
To shoot humans around the planet like we're in our office mail. Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to scoot right along into the segment portion of our show. And
Wait, we got a segment portion?
Yes.
Okay.
how,
We'll be good. We'll be good.
we got an hour
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can build that.
easily.
Yes.
We'll do it. Roll up the sleeves, boys.
All
It's
right.
gonna happen. So we're gonna discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of television. We're just gonna basically pick a show that we love, a show that we despise, and a show that is kind of like, I don't know, guilty pleasure-ish.
Yes, that would be the ugly.
The ugly part. It's like you just kind of feel dirty for even watching it, but at the same time, you're like, you just get nothing but enjoyment out of it.
Yep.
So do you want to start with the good? Just go in order?
Yeah,
Sure.
sounds like a plan.
Round table good, then bad, then ugly.
Yep. You want to start each segment off just in order? Or?
Let's just go for it.
Just go for it? Okay.
Just go for it.
Good. Well, I would normally start with saying just fucking Doctor Who. But since we have a whole show dedicated to that in the coming weeks, we're just going to skip right over Doctor Who and just go right to my new favorite show on TV that's, well, it's actually still currently on TV. It's not one I just picked up on Netflix, but it's one that I've been convinced to watch and have been engrossed in for several weeks now, is Supernatural. The Adventures of Sam and Dean Winchester, and I'm almost done with season 4, so I don't know everything, but there's I know Castiel's up in there now, and just in case any spoilers, we will be talking about these shows. So
Yeah.
if you haven't watched them yet,
just from here on
spoiler
out.
alert for the rest of the show. So Castiel's there. We're now at the point where like he's questioning his allegiance. Anna is a new character that we've kind of discovered, and she's the one who's trying to convince him at this point. And Uriel has just been, his ass just got capped or stabbed, I should say. And yeah, Sam, the romance novel writing prophet dude.
Yeah.
Am I spoiling anything for you now that I think about it? 'Cause
I know about a lot of this because my friend Nomi, who got me into the show, has talked about stuff with me that has happened to her, but has not yet happened to me because I'm only in like season 3.5.
Okay.
And I haven't watched it in a long time, unfortunately. Other stuff came up and I got out of the habit of watching it.
Okay. Well, anyway, up to this point, it's been a really great show. My fear going into the show was that it was just going to be a couple of pretty boys playing Ghost Hunter. That's kind of like the I don't know. I never saw the marketing. I knew it kind of had a hit on it. You see people talking about it on Facebook. You see the T-shirts from the T-shirt sites being made, the memes and stuff like that coming from it. And I finally just said, all right, well, let's just see what the show's about. I'll give it the first, season or so, maybe, to give it a shot. Because that's kind of what I had to give Doctor Who. You give it that first season, and you hope that it's going to be good, and you're like, all right, well, let's try the second season, and then it just kind of picks
So
up.
then you have a Tom Baker scarf, a Doctor Who mug,
Yeah,
and
3D glasses.
3D glasses, and are holding a remote
sonic
control that looks like a sonic screwdriver, and you're going, "Yep, I'm hooked."
Yep. But again, that's another discussion.
Yes,
How did we loop it back around?
So easy for us.
It
Wibbly
is.
wobbly, timey-wimey.
It really, really is. There's probably going to be several podcasts in the future regarding Doctor Who. Yeah, so it's just one of those shows that it was one of those pleasant surprises.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it to be really that good, but it's a lot more violent than you would think. It's a lot more heavy, like emotionally, than you would think.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised at how emotional it got.
Yeah.
For a show that's on the CW, I think is where its original run is.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised, actually. Oh, excuse me. I was quite surprised. There, no burp that time.
So, yeah, I would highly recommend picking it up. It's full action, full of demons and weird things.
Werewolves and ghosts, oh my.
Yeah,
And
Wendigos. And
yeah, I was also, like, one of the things I like about it is they don't, while they take the show seriously most of the time, they're also totally willing to poke fun at themselves.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
which I enjoy in the way Supernatural is. I really enjoy that part of it, where they're willing to make jokes at their own show's expense.
Did you see the? I don't want to spoil anything for you if you haven't seen it, but just stick around for it. There's an after scene in one of the episodes where Dean is like miming Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah,
and
I've
it
seen
is
that.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. You can definitely tell these guys have a lot of fun on the show. It's pretty fun to watch. And I actually just listened to another podcast of mine, Aisha Tyler. She does a show on called Girl on Guy, and she interviewed Jared Padalecki, Sam, on one of her podcasts. And it turns out, I guess, after the 5th season, they had to bring on a new director because new director or new writer, I can't remember, but I think it was director. But because the original run of the series was only supposed to last for 5 seasons, but it grew so freaking popular,
Right.
that the original writer was like, "I got nothing. We've done everything I wanted to do, so here you go.
Yeah.
You take care of it." So they had to bring on a new people to keep the show going, I guess. So it was pretty interesting. But yeah, I would highly again. I think I've said this 5 times already. So
Yeah.
go watch it. It's on Netflix. All the seasons are up there. The current season's on Hulu.
Yep.
So there's not like you're gonna miss anything. I don't know if it's one of those series though that if they they only keep the last 5 episodes or something like that. Sometimes Hulu does that to you.
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway, go watch it. It's fun. Mike?
Hey, so
Hey.
so Mason's gotten me hooked on a couple of shows recently. One of those shows being Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I was actually really impressed with it. I had a feeling it was going to be good, but it actually kind of exceeded my expectations, honestly. So basically, it's taking place in a world after the Avengers movie.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a freaking alien invasion in New York. It's
Cat's
no
out of the
secret.
bag.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag. It's no secret. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you're dealing with agencies that have gotten a hold of the alien technology from the battle and are doing experiments and all sorts of nefarious plans with the technology they've gotten a hold of. They're dealing with people with superpowers that are, they're not like Hulk level, but, have unusual superhuman abilities, and they're, monitoring them, and you have a particular story where one of them is actually getting enhanced and kind of goes rogue. So, it's just, there was a lot of interesting angles they've taken with it that I didn't expect them to take, and been impressed with it so far. It's still in the first season, so there's not that many episodes out yet. And, what is it? 6 days out, they blow up the plane, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just freaking epic. Nick Fury yelling at him because they put a hole in the plane after 6 days of having it. And it's like, oh my God. And Nick Fury going,
He threatens to put them in a Winnebago, actually.
Yeah. Love that.
The most advanced agency in the entire United States rolling around in a Winnebago.
It's called punishment. You blew up the nice plane I gave you. Here's a Winnebago.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. And then he got that nice little roadster car, whatever it's called.
Lola.
Oh,
yeah. I believe she's a 56, 57 Corvette.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's pretty. And it flies.
Yeah.
It freaking flies. Love it.
Kind of like the Men in Black car.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. All right.
Except for it's a 55 Corvette. It's way
Well,
nicer.
theirs was what, a Lincoln
Yeah.
or a Cadillac? So.
Cadillac, I think, yeah. Something like that. Not as cool.
Oh, I guess I should say they
Lincolns
do
and
have
Cadillacs.
Not as cool as a 57 Corvette.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, there is a decent amount of drama in it too. So I mean, there's still some good storytelling elements in there. A lot of conflict between characters, especially after you get a few episodes in.
Yeah. I would say also that's one of the things I also like about it is the fact that the characters aren't blanks. They have backgrounds, and the writers are effectively using the backgrounds of the characters to bond the characters together, cause conflict between the characters, and also keep them human by watching them not necessarily fail because they're the good guys of our story, but have problems that are created by their backgrounds that they have to overcome in one way or another. So,
yeah, Mason's a lot better at
articulating.
Articulating, yes. So I'll just let him go with that. But yeah, I think that's about all we can do on that one because it's really only the first season. I haven't had that much yet.
Right.
Anyway, so Mason, what do you got?
Well, I have the other show that Mike was planning on or talking about mentioning. He asked me which one I wanted to do, and so I picked this one, which is Arrow. The first season, it's just for anyone who hasn't. I mean, if you've been listening to this podcast, you've heard me talk about it plenty. But for the recap, first season, Queen comes back to Starling City, which is their Seattle analog in the show, and he's avenging, or he thinks he's avenging his father's death in a way, and he kind of is, but his father and mother and their buddies are bad people, and he finds that out towards the end of the first season. And so, but at the time, he was willing to do whatever it took to bring these people down. In his book, his father left him. He was willing to do whatever was possible to take him down, so he was a killer, among other things. His arrows were not the trick arrows that Green Arrow is known for having in the comic book. They were regular, broad tip.
Thunk, you're dead.
Thunk, you're dead arrows. And first season plays out. He has a moral crisis because of the killing. And family and friends dying, and family being complicit in this plot. So he comes back in the second season not wanting to kill. And in fact, he retires and goes back to the prison island that he was on for 5 years. But they go, his buddies go and find him and, convince him to come back. And he decides he no longer wants to kill. But, if he's going to, he basically kind of pulls a Batman where he's like, I cannot be a killer because that makes me basically just as bad as these people. Mm-hmm. So he's going through that kind of that conflict now and trying to figure out, his place and how he has to work with the police and whatnot, and yet still be more extreme than the police because of what he has to do, still being outside the law, being a vigilante. And I was thinking it was going to kind of be like with Arrow. I was really worried about it at first, just kind of being a lame attempt at a superhero show. But I think I think they've done a really good job. And also I think part of the reason that Arrow works as a television show, why Batman is so popular as a superhero, both on the big screen and back, even when they did the very campy 60s television show of Batman, why it was so popular and why Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. works so well also is that they are not the super powered heroes. So I think that lends much better to be able to do more of the dramatic elements.
You humanize it a little bit.
They're more human, because they aren't. I mean, even Iron Man, because when Stark's out of the Iron Man suit, he's basically a regular dude. Mm-hmm. So
smart as shit.
Smart, but still a regular dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, Batman's really, really smart. A lot of people forget that Batman is, according to DC, the apex of all human ability. He's not superhuman in any being the best possible human at everything makes you kind of superhuman. But he's not. If you look at how strong he is, he's not superhuman. You look at how fast he is.
He's the one who fucks up the bell curve.
Yeah, he's the outlier. He's way on the outlier on the bell curve. But he's so good at he's so good at everything. Mm-hmm. That's what makes Batman kind of special, along with being really rich and be able to afford all the nice toys. Of course,
like that meme of when Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne are just throwing money at each other.
Yeah, just because they're both that rich.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, those kind of characters being superheroes, but also very human at the same time. I think that lends for better storytelling on both the big and the small screen versus in comic book print.
I totally agree.
So I think Arrow's just another show that does that really well. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, for a long time, I had basically almost totally given up on television. And a lot of these newer shows, like the reboot of Doctor Who, and then kind of from there, like these superhero shows and a lot of other shows have come back and have consistent ongoing plots, which I think makes for better stories than your half-hour or hour-long chunk shows where it's like, well, in Doctor Who, you can watch one show and be entertained, mm-hmm. and it's a complete story by itself. But if you watch everything, instead of being episodic, if you watch it as the full arc through the story, it is far more enjoyable. Yeah. And I appreciate a lot of these shows that are coming back and worrying more about long-term arcs than trying to fit individual stories into the one episode. Even though they usually do have self-contained episodes, like both Arrow and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does this too. Mm-hmm. But there's still the overarching stories that make it, I think, more compelling.
Yeah, it's funny because Supernatural does... It's funny because I thought Supernatural, when I first started messing with it, was going to be completely episodic.
Right.
And the way
it was kind of at first.
Well, because the pilot episode is like this introduction into, here's the reason why the brothers get back together, and then from that point on, it's like, let's just go beat up one bad guy one after another without any real callback to anything,
Right.
But then towards the end of the first season, and then going on into the second season especially,
right,
it does nothing but like tie everything together for you. So if you again, it's one of those things, if you can hang on to the first season and then go on from there, it totally pulls the show together. I'm in season 4 and they're still pulling things from 1 and 2, that that's what makes for good television, I think, is because it's a callback for the fans,
Yeah, and I'll talk about it later because we're going to get into that. But so I would say So for me, Arrow has been really, really good, and I'm really enjoying it.
And I agree. Yeah. And I'm liking that he's getting into the trick arrows in season 2.
Yes.
It's a show I haven't seen yet. So.
He tied up the Asian assassin with an arrow. That was
wearing
awesome.
the black leather. I'm sure you liked that, or latex, or whatever her outfit was.
The white hair. It's like.
Let's give Mike a minute.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay,
and we're back. Oh man. Okay. All right. So that's our good lineup.
Yes.
Now we have the bad lineup.
Yes.
So many to choose from.
Are we just kind of in general agreement for like reality television? Is that what we decided, or did we get to a point where we actually pick some individual stuff here?
For the most part, for me, reality television is the abysmal bottom of all that is, and the exemplification of everything that is wrong with television nowadays, and why I'm happy to see the shows coming back that have long-lasting plots and everything that are fictional and not fictional, but try to pretend like they're based off of reality, like reality television is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna pull from just a few shows that I roll right off the top of my head.
Prostitutes?
Tyler's and Tiaras was one that we brought up in pre-show discussion that that's just one of those things that like it disturbs me to no end. Like that's pedo porn right there. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you're just asking for weirdness to happen, and there was one thing I had read earlier. It was Crack.com today earlier put out a top 6 list of the types of children that you see at these. I keep wanting to say conventions, but pageants.
Yeah.
And one of them was the mom had decided to dress her daughter up as Dolly Parton, which the traditional costume for that is blonde hair, D cups, and an ass.
Yeah.
And her daughter was 4 years old, and she dressed her like that.
That's terrible.
And my brain almost exploded.
Yep.
So it blows my mind some of the things that these people will do to their own children, and then and it's setting them up for just weird disappointment in the future. Like you're gonna set their standards at such a weird level, not even a high level, just a weird level.
Yeah.
That the things that they're gonna expect to be reality as they get older just aren't gonna happen. Like it's just it hurts my head. Another one that came up in my brain was Jersey Shore. Like I watched.
I never want to go to Jersey because of that show. If people like that exist there and it's real, I don't want to be there.
Well, they don't. Those guys aren't even invited back ever again, from what I understand. But
yeah,
just the people on that show, like
they're horrible train wrecks of humanity.
Some of the lowest forms of human life that I have ever seen. And if Guido's ever had a bad name before, these people just. I mean, they amplify it like 100. They went and specifically searched for a stereotype.
Yeah.
They found it, put them in the same room, and just, here you go. Let them run wild and see what happens. Now, granted, some realities, TV shows, from what I understand, are semi-scripted. Like they put people in certain situations to make sure that certain things happen. But there's other things, too, that obviously aren't scripted.
Yeah.
That just... I mean, you can't control a drunk person. That's all I'm saying. So some of the stuff they do on the show is just absolutely atrocious. I hear the name Snooki and my brain shrinks a couple of sizes.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, those were a couple
cells waiting to die.
Those were a couple of couple of the bad ones that I thought of. I don't know if you guys can think of any more, but.
I mean, that pretty well covers it for me.
The other one I don't.
I stopped watching TV for a long time.
The other one I don't.
Reality TV was a big part of that.
Yeah. It had. There's a point in the last 5 years where it had pretty much just taken over television. But like the Duck Dynasty, I don't get it. That's one of those shows that I don't get. The people on the show are. I mean, they're funny. They seem like honest individuals, but
well, the thing is,
they made a fortune on duck calls.
Yeah, they invented one of the members of the family invented a really good duck call. Okay, it's great for hunting. I get that. How they got their own TV show out of that, I'm not 100% certain.
They got a couple of seasons out of it, didn't they?
I think it's still going.
Yeah.
My Redneck Vacation. That's a show. They take rednecks from like the asshole of Tennessee and put them up in these high-end joints and just let them run wild. Sweet mother of Jesus! The weird thing is that they try and play it off because I've watched a few episodes because the thing about these shows is that they're such a train wreck that you can't turn away once you're on one. Like you just have to see what happens in order to move on with your life.
Yeah.
So,
well, have you guys seen the one with the bear hand fishing? I can't remember what this damn show was called.
Yeah, I can understand that as a documentary.
I mean, it's like people pay them
to
take them out there and basically put their hand in the muddy water, find the fish, and have the fish basically bite onto their hand so they can pull it out of the water.
That's a catfish.
And they're paying people
to
let them do this. I'm like, oh my God. And then they make a show.
They would have done it anyway, though. Why not give them money for it?
It's just crazy. I mean, they're making a good living off of taking people
Not mud.
Into the
There's
muddy water
mud
to fish for catfish.
Yeah.
Four-wheeling in mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know there's a show for it. I can't remember the name of the show. I saw a couple episodes, and I was just like, why the hell am I watching this? Trying to turn off the cable. Netflix, you're my friend now.
And look, it's on Netflix, too.
Oh, my God.
Back to the good on TV, by the way.
Yes.
So one of the, I would say, not necessarily a TV show, but one of the good things that is happening on television right now is that online networks like Amazon and Hulu and Netflix are all coming out with exclusive shows that are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
One show that I want to watch, I haven't started yet, was House of Cards.
Yeah.
I heard that was phenomenal.
Orange is the New Black, I've heard, is actually
Orange
really
is
good.
New Black is really good. Hulu has... Oh, fuck, what does Hulu have? Hulu's got one too, and I can't remember the name.
I can't remember.
Amazon was doing a pilot series thing for a while where we talked about it last week. They were doing like Zombieland and a couple other shows that they were doing network pilots for to possibly launch a show on Amazon that was exclusive to them. So that's just one thing I think is good that's happening to TV is that they can actually,
Yeah. Well, the thing is like the networks, even the cable networks, have gotten so used to their niche and also not being contested that I think that like now that Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and whatnot are starting to go, we can make TV shows too.
Misfits on Hulu.
Yeah.
Fantastic British show if you've ever
Yes,
seen it.
I've seen Misfits.
It
It's
will make
pretty
your
good.
brain explode in so many good ways. It's not even funny. Anyway, go ahead.
But the thing is that like Hulu and Netflix and stuff was all originally about replaying content.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going, no, wait, we can make our own. And I think this is going to be a good thing in the long run for everyone who, consumes entertainment, which is pretty much everybody. So, because it gives more options, more outlets, but also more competition to make everyone's standards go up as far as quality of what they do, and also, hopefully, to give things that are like, especially on the internet, give things that are, give things that are more experimental a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Because you may think, oh, that show would never work. That's a stupid idea. Whatever it is, and then all of a sudden, there's 5 million people watching this show, and you're going, what? But it's a hit now.
Mm-hmm.
Look what George Lucas did.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't want to make Star Wars, and
Yeah.
I mean, he basically
Fox was convinced Star Wars would fail.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they're idiots.
Yeah. They also took Firefly off the air.
Yeah. So
Which actually gets mentioned later. But, yeah, there's so much good TV out there now. It's really, it's just weird. It's hard to find anything that's even in between anymore. It's like either it sucks or it's fucking phenomenal.
Well, I have an in-betweener.
Oh.
Bones.
Oh, yes. Explain.
Well...
Or rant. However you want to do it.
Okay.
Rant mode engaged.
No. Well, to be fair, I have a degree in anthropology. And
Humble brag. Hashtag.
No, just truth. I do.
That was a Nerdist reference.
Oh, okay. And so I had an attachment to the idea of the show Bones because it's about a forensic anthropologist. Like, our science that doesn't get the credit it deserves was finally getting some credit and getting some recognition, outside of academic circles. And the first few seasons were pretty good, the characters were a little quirky or whatever, of course it has a Deschanel in it, so it's got to be a little quirky somewhere. But
they're a quirky bunch.
The Deschanels are a quirky bunch, that is true. And it had Angel in it. I was like, what? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop, too.
David Boreanaz.
Yeah, who's actually not that bad of an actor.
No, he's not.
I mean...
He wouldn't have lasted as long as if he didn't.
Yeah.
If he wasn't. Sorry.
Yeah. But, the first few seasons, they were really good about, sticking to science and not having supernatural stuff or fake pseudoscience or making shit up that sounds scientific to drive a plot forward. It was really they were pretty darn good about having it based in reality, even though they had a few of Kathy Reichs' mistakes in there, which I won't go into because it's really specific and you have to know specific books to get them. But it was, they tried to stay really scientific, and then for longer the show's gone on, they've like when they had Hodgins and Angela get together and become a couple, I was okay with that. They were side characters, but I liked having the tension between Bones and Booth. And obviously they started to respect each other more as compatriots, and eventually they did the whole, we got Booth and Brandon falling in love, yay. I didn't want it to happen. Because it's too stereotypical. I wanted to stay away from those kind of stereotypical tropes of television in that way. But then they started doing stuff like, granted, I do kind of love and hate it because of when she's on the show. But there's a psychic that comes on the show occasionally, which I hate it because they're bringing the supernatural into the show, and it was a nice scientific show for a long time. But again, I kind of like it when she's there because it's Cyndi Lauper, and Cyndi Lauper is awesome.
Yeah.
But then they've started, besides bringing in the supernatural stuff, they've also started doing fake pseudoscientific crap. Like they had an episode where a guy who was supposedly so brilliant etched lines into the bones of a corpse, so that when they scanned the bones into the computer, the lines made a computer virus. What? No, it doesn't work like that. Granted, they've also done a couple of things with the supernatural stuff that led for interesting cinematography, which I didn't like the episodes for their supernatural bent, but I liked the cinematography of it, where they had one where a spirit was supposedly stuck in a skull, which was also an episode that Cyndi Lauper showed up in. But they shot the entire episode from the point of view of the skull.
Interesting.
Which I thought was an interesting cinematic choice. But the reason for doing it was like, you're in the spirit's eyes, basically. And I was like, no, stick to the science, people. That's what Bones was about. If you want to talk about religion, fine. Do it from the anthropological perspectives of religion. We're not against religion as anthropologists. We just look at them for what they do in society. We don't question the beliefs of people, but we also don't necessarily believe either. And it's, we don't bash religions, but we take them as one part of the cultures that we look at. So you could have kept it in that kind of perspective. Let Booth be a Catholic. That's fine. But, like when they started having, Bones have like visions of her mother when she was in a coma and stuff, it's like, okay, that you can attribute that to the brain, trying to work things out, basically like a dream. But at the same time, they tried to really heavily imply that it was really her mother's spirit and stuff. And they could have either left it ambiguous or left that episode out, in my opinion. So Bones has jumped the shark and has gone from good to bad.
All right. So that's our bad.
Yes.
Bone. Sorry, man. I've been holding that one for a while.
Bone.
And the ugly.
Yes.
Boners and the ugly?
All
right. Anyway, we're going to move on to the ugly portion of it. One of the shows that I kind of... it's hard to... The ugly portion of it, we're kind of falling under the category of guilty pleasure. I got a couple of shows that came to mind, or more like type of show. One of them was a specific show. The other one's kind of a type of show, which is odd because the type of show part of it actually kind of falls under the reality television portion of it. But
again, it's a guilty pleasure.
I will explain. First show that I really, 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 really enjoy is The Biggest Loser. It's kind of a funky one. I enjoy the show It's no secret. I'm a big dude. I've kind of had my ups and downs with weight loss, and it's just even though the show is very extreme and sets a very high bar for what it takes to lose weight, it's still very inspirational just to watch these people just lose a shat ton of weight by the time of the end of the season, especially people who have gone home, who were cast off from the show. And then you still see that they're working hard towards their goals.
Right.
Those are the people that I really admire too. And then the other thing is too that they get these people on the show that you can kind of connect with too, because maybe some of them have the same issues you do, and you kind of connect with the trainers. Because I'll be honest with you, as much as I would like to have Bob as a trainer, the person I probably need is like Jillian, because she will tear me a new asshole and will get me to a point where I need to be. And I don't know, there's a part of me that kind of likes that militant part of it. And then there's a third guy, Dolvet, who's been introduced in the last few seasons. He's pretty good. He's a nice in-betweener. More of a he was like more of a sports athletic trainer. He likes to use boxing and stuff like that as a form of weight loss. So still really cool cat though, if you ever see him as a person. Anyway, the show is kind of it doesn't really fall into any sort of nerdish category, but as far as television goes, it's interesting for me to watch from the heavy guy perspective. So you can kind of see how this has worked out for these people. They did. I mean, I think my wife and I actually had developed kind of a drinking game based on the show because
that'll help you lose weight.
Yeah, I know. Because what makes the show kind of on the God side is how much advertising is in that show. It is so fucking crazy. Like, first off, the gym is usually sponsored by some sort of athletic club every year. It's like right now it's like athletic. Right now it's Planet Fitness. I've seen Gold's Gym sponsor it before, and so all the equipment in the gym is
Golds.
Yeah, Golds, or now it's all purple and yellow, which is Planet Fitness's stuff, and then they got like sponsorships with like Jenny-O Turkey, and so my wife and I have this had developed this drinking game. Like whenever there's a direct advertisement in show, 2 shots. So so for example, they'll do like the guys at they work out at the gym several hours a day, and they really need to replenish their protein. So why not have some Jenny-O Turkey? It has so many grams of protein, and it's lean, and it's good for you. That's like a direct advertisement.
Right.
Now, then there's the one shot, which is the inadvertent advertisement, which is the shit that's set up in the background, or they're catching somebody on camera.
Product placement.
Pretty much. So they also have a sponsorship with sugar-free gum or whatever, which and so sometimes you'll see the camera will pan to somebody who's pulling out a stick of gum and popping it in their mouth, and of course it's like just so that the camera's seeing it happen, or they're in the kitchen and they're all making dinner together, but of course all the stuff on the counter is by their sponsor, so Jenny-O Turkey and whatever produce company happens to be around, or
Bird's Eye.
Brita water filter is another big one that they do every year. So they'll see them turn on the water tap underneath their Brita water filter,
Right.
So it's that kind of stuff that would earn you 1 shot. So every time they do that on the show, you get 1 shot. By the end of the fucking show, you're blitzed.
Yeah.
So and I'm not a drinker, but you usually get 2 or 3 solid, like really hit you in the face advertisements, and then there's like 2 or 3 other camera shotted advertisements. The gym doesn't count because it in itself is an advertisement, and you would just be drinking all night long for every time they were in that gym.
That reminds me of another drinking game I heard of recently. Okay, yeah, I'll bring it up. So basically you take a shot for every person you've ever had sex with in your entire life. So would you be okay? Would you be tipsy? Would you be plastered? Or would you be dead?
I'd be fairly tipsy, I think. I haven't had sex with a lot of people.
You'd be mildly buzzed, dude.
I'm a lightweight, too, so it depends.
Well, okay.
We'll give him credit there.
Okay.
What? So how did that... How does that even relate to
somewhere.
advertising
You were
and drinking?
mentioning
Drinking games.
Drinking games. And
Yeah,
so
but do you know how many
it's
drinking games are out there?
Yeah, I know.
I thought maybe it was going to be like some... Anyway,
Mason.
yeah, I'm not
You
done
alive or
yet.
you dead?
Oh.
Close to dead, if not.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd be dead, but I'm kind of a man whore, so yeah.
Mangina.
Mm.
Put your he pussy out there. You've seen Deuce Bigalow, I'm sure. Please tell me you've seen Deuce Bigalow. That's one of those guilty pleasure movies.
I saw the scene about you ever thrown a toothpick into a volcano? And it just kind of like went, no, not watching this. No.
Oh, it's funny. You should watch it. It's pretty good.
I'm sorry. Yeah, carry on.
My other guilty pleasure in TV is what I guess I would consider... They're definitely reality TV shows, but they're not reality TV shows that reflect any sort of like horrible, inhuman light on anybody. You know what I mean? Does that make sense at all?
Explain. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like for example, like I like the ghost shows that are on there.
Yeah.
You know, they're not really putting anybody in danger, and they're not reflecting on any one person or category. You know,
Right.
They're trying to be documentary type, but they're not at the same time. Like the Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures.
Right.
All those guys.
Docutainment.
Yeah, docutainment. Yeah, I love that. It's a great term. I've never heard that before, but
Okay, I think I made it up. I'm not sure.
I love it. I'll take it. So I love shows like that. Storage Wars kind of falls under that category. The people who are in Storage Wars are very animated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're definitely characters in their own right, but at the same time, it is kind of...
Well, they were picked for their animation, and that they already knew that they were picked probably because of their animation. They already also knew what they were doing.
Right.
Is a big part of it.
Right.
For both.
So that is another great example of, again, nobody's getting hurt, nobody's being a real douchebag in the show. It's just fun to watch their interactions and just kind of see what comes out of these storage units.
I was saying, for one of those shows that were a docutainment type show like that, where someone is always a douchebag, Pawn Stars, because Rick is a total douche all the time. Pawn Stars. On history, the pawn shop.
Is that the one that's the
pawn shop in Vegas?
Yeah.
Is that the one run by like the grandfather, father, and a couple of kids,
And the son in Chumley.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like that show.
Rick is a total douche to everyone. I can't stand him.
You know, he is kind of one of those people who kind of like throws it in your face. Like,
Well,
why would you even think that? You know, like,
well, the thing is like I have a love-hate relationship with that show because I like seeing the interesting things people bring in and have.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I hate him.
But he's kind of a douche to the customers when
Yeah,
they
he-
come
yeah.
in. He's like, why would you even bring that in here? It's only worth like $10. You know,
Yeah.
it's like this is really not even that uncommon.
Yeah.
Like he just kind of smashes their hopes without any remorse.
Well,
Yeah, I want to get $500 for this. I'll give you $2. Get the hell out of my store.
Like, I'll give you $20 for it. He's like, but I thought this was like $400 or $500. No,
yeah.
get out of my store.
Yeah, I mean, it's also funny. Also, one of the things that's funny is when people are like, you know, when someone says at auction this could go for $8,000 to $10,000, and like, well, I want $8,000 for it now. Well,
That
no,
is kind of obvious that you wouldn't expect
that you wouldn't.
to.
To me, you wouldn't expect to get that. Like, you know, I would hold them at 4.
Yeah,
Because that's a retail markup, and if you are selling something, that means you are retailing it.
and if that store really wants it, then maybe they'll even go for 30, like a 30% markup on it. But
yeah,
but
I would go. I wouldn't go any lower than 4. I would try for a little more at first, but 5, 6. But I'd be like, I'd be looking at them and go, look, here's the deal. 4,000, minimum, you're probably going to get for it because you could take it to auction yourself if you wanted, is $8,000. Okay. So if you're going to try to charge $8,000 for it, you're going to pay me $4,000 because that is that is a standard retail markup.
yeah, the only problem with auctions, though, as we all know, is that you kind of take a gamble.
You take a gamble.
Yeah.
You go first.
And they actually have a show like that, too.
Of course, the thing is that an auction, you can set a reserve. So if it doesn't go for the reserve, you don't have to sell.
Well, I guess it depends on the auction, I guess. But
Don't take it to an auction where you can't set a reserve. It's pretty simple.
but I've said
Most major auctions will let you set reserve prices.
there is a there's another pawn auction show. I can't remember what it's called, but I've only seen like 4 or 5 episodes of it. But it's basically people come in with these items that are obviously rare, like they know they're
Yeah.
It's not just like bullshit that they're bringing in.
Yeah.
They bring it into the table like it's like a poker table. It's kind of funny how they set it up that way. And so there's a guy who's either a collector or a pawn shop owner or something like that on one side of the table, and then there's the customer on the other side of the table with their item.
Yeah.
They go into the room, they try and make a deal. If the guy likes the deal, they'll trade cash right there at the table.
Okay.
If the guy on this other says no, I'll press my luck at auction or whatever, I think I can get more out of it, that kind of thing. And then he'll take it to auction and hope to get more. He'll press his luck and gamble on it. And it's kind of cool because you can kind of see where, like, so if the guy offered him, I'll give you $400 for this, and he takes it to auction and only makes $200, then he walks out kicking himself in the ass.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. But anyway, last show I'll bring up, Comic Book Men. It is reality television, but it's at the same time it's reality television made with people I know, like not on a personal level, but like I'm a big Kevin Smith whore.
Yeah.
And the people that surround him, like Brian Johnson and Ming Chen and Mike Zapsik and Walt Flanagan, like all those guys I've seen in all of his movies and pretty much in all of his podcasting stuff as I've grown up. I mean, and he's kind of one that inspired me to do what we're doing right now. I mean, next to Nerdist and all the other guys I listen to, and Mike Dodd on a smaller level. Yeah, This Week in Geek. So it's kind of cool to watch those guys have their own show, and it's like one of those Pawn Stars type shows where they bring people in with some really cool items, but they're on a nerdy level.
Yeah.
Like X-Men #1, and you're like, fuck, that's awesome. You're like, some dude just rolls in with one. One of the most recent episodes I saw is they just put season 2 up on Netflix.
Okay.
And one of the ones I saw was that one, I guess, a customer who's been a customer of theirs for like 15 years or something like that, was at a point in his life where he had a lot of hospital bills and needed to take care of some stuff. He was, I don't think he was terminal, but he was at a point where he was just ready to separate from his collection. Yeah. And he ended up raising so they did a charity auction. The guys from the store, the Stash, did an auction for free for him. Right. And they basically sold off his collection sets at a time, so maybe anywhere from like 1 to like 10 comics at a time. Yeah. But the man had an entire attic full, like almost a ground level floor full of comics, and he ended up selling the whole lot for like $250,000. Yeah. By the end of it, so it was pretty amazing to watch. But yeah. Anyway, I got reality TV shows.
2 boxes of comics left.
Yeah, I got like 1 box. I haven't picked up comics since high school, but
I'd be lucky to sell them for cover price.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm done. I've put my ugly on the table. Take that as you want it. Mike, what's ugly to you?
My ugly?
What's your ugly?
All right, so if you go on Netflix and do a search, you can find this one show called Mutant Girl Squad. So basically it's a Japanese show done in a style very reminiscent of anime, especially like the adult ultra-violent anime. So there's more blood than a human body could possibly hold flying all over the place. There's heads flying through the air. They got scenes where people are just getting ripped apart.
But this is a show? It's not just a movie?
It's a movie. Okay, I should say it's a movie. But, I mean, it's almost like Power Ranger-esque at points. Mm-hmm. But it's just, like, super gory. And it's just, like, so over the top. It's ridiculous. And the whole premise of the show is just so freaking ridiculous. You got these... the bad guys are basically these operatives from some secret organization from the government, and they got these nose guns. So they got these like helmets and masks they wear, and the gun is in the nose. So they're like all like bobbing their head to fire the gun out of their nose, and it's just like, why? But that's what they do. So
I wouldn't want a firing arm that close to my face, though.
I wouldn't want recoil on top of my
That's
nose.
what I'm saying. It'd break your nose every time you fire.
Exactly. So, oh my god. So, yeah, and besides with all the gore and everything, they have these girls, obviously, that are mutants. And
I think I'm starting to figure out the name of the movie now.
Yeah, and they apparently form into this sort of squad.
No.
I didn't see
Say it ain't so.
I did not see that coming.
Oh, man. So, some of them get a few...
You're telling me
okay.
they're samurai or
They're a mutant
girl squad?
There's samurai-ish involvement, too, at points.
Thanks, Japan.
Yeah, it is Japan. And some of the mutations are really interesting.
Sure they are.
Booby swords.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm there. You sold me with that line
chainsaw.
alone. Ass chainsaw.
Yep. She bends over and a chainsaw on this like tentacle thing pops out of her ass.
That's beautiful, man. You can't make that shit up. Well,
I mean,
you can.
Obviously someone did.
Yeah, it's just really amazingly, epically bad. Like, wow.
Is this available on any major streaming network?
It's on... I don't know if it's anywhere else. It's on Netflix. I've seen it there. And,
I will be adding that to my queue and watching it probably some night Jen's not home because she will just look at me like I'm fucking crazy if I do.
And the Ultra Boy reference. Oh my god. Oh my god. So they have this chick at the end of the movie that comes out. You only see her like laying on a table throughout the movie and stuff like that. But at the end of the movie she comes out and her hair's in... It's like she's got this black hair that's in this form, kind of like how Astro Boy's is.
Mm-hmm.
They got her topless, but she doesn't really have anything because she's Asian. But it's... Yeah, I mean, she ends up starting to slash her wrists with a razor, and she's bleeding fire. So she's throwing fireballs from her wrist because she's slicing it open. She ends up cutting her hands off in the middle of her forearm, so the hands go flying off like rocket fists and grabbing the other chick by the neck. And so she's got flames coming out of the stumps of her arms. And then she drops the razor into this dead corpse's mouth and starts spinning and cutting her feet off, so the feet go rocking off and kicking the other chick in the face. And so she's got all four of her limbs cut off and just the rockets there. So she looks like Astro Boy flying. And then the chick that she's fighting ends up getting a hold of her and using her like a rocket sled. Yeah. Yeah.
The look on Mason and I's face right now is just... Did you just have a really bad nightmare, Mike, and just dream this up?
So, Mike, are you sure you've not ingested any LSD or shrooms any time?
Any hallucinogenic?
Any hallucinogenic substances?
I was wondering the same thing myself, to be honest. But I have recently gone back and checked, well, was that really there? Yes, it really is there. So, I mean, it's there. It's there. I'm not lying.
Look, this is going on my to-watch list. I don't care what anybody says. I have to see.
Not safe for work.
No, I don't.
Or kids. Or wives.
Not safe for life.
Anything that breathes.
I will be watching this. It's amazing. I'm going to allow this cheat for not using TV shows.
I was kind of disappointed in the lack of boobies, though. I mean, honestly, they only had the one chick topless, and she didn't really have anything.
Oh,
but
oh,
I
poor
was expecting
Mike.
more out of it. But hey, what the heck?
Okay, but Mike, were they in schoolgirl uniforms?
Yes, they were.
Then what was your complaint? I know you have a thing for the schoolgirl uniform.
Fine. School
If you want to see ultra violence in schoolgirl uniforms, go watch Battle Royale.
Oh, I've seen Battle Royale.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a second one too that I haven't seen yet, but
Sekire. Sekire's a good one.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. I guess we should probably stop with mine before it gets any worse.
yeah.
It could get worse? I'm just going to put that out. It could get worse.
If I really push it, yes.
Noted.
It is me, Mason.
It's true. That's true.
We'll save the disturbing movie content for later.
Yeah.
We'll move that. We'll make that another show.
Mason, what do you got?
Nothing as bad as that last one.
Hey, you guys wanted ugly. I gave you ugly.
Yeah. Again, there's really nothing ugly in this show, so it's definitely a guilty pleasure type thing that we're going for. Pretty Little Liars.
You've brought this up before.
Yeah. Not on show, though.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, okay.
This was the one I was going to use a few shows back for something, but I decided not to. But I was innocently watching Hulu one day, kind of just trying to just fall asleep. You know, I was just watching it, watch a couple of shows and, just laying in bed trying to go to sleep. And I wasn't falling asleep, and Hulu will just keep playing episodes until a show runs out of episodes if you don't stop it. So whatever show I was watching at the time is now they ran out of episodes for it, and it popped up with this other show, and I was like, okay, I'll see what it is, whatever. Just being too lazy to move, and also trying to fall asleep, and it was the first episode of Pretty Little Liars, and it was on, and I watched it, and by the end of the episode, I was like, okay, who's A? You have to watch the show to understand the reference, but basically, 4 friends. A 5th friend of theirs died a year previously before the show starts. And the dead friend's name is Allison. And they get back together a year later after her body is found. After Allison's body is found. And they go to her funeral, and then immediately after her funeral they start getting text messages and letters in their lockers and things from this person who's calling themselves A, who is telling them stuff that they had only previously told Allison. And so the whole show, it basically revolves around trying to find out who A is. Mm-hmm. And watching these girls kind of start off as pretty horrible people, to be all honest. At the beginning of the show, they're not the greatest people on the planet. And they become better throughout the series as they're trying to avoid lying, even though they all lie all the time. As let's face it, most people really do. But so yeah, and the whole point, it's like I didn't really care about the characters at first. I still don't really care about the characters that much. They're not terribly deep characters, but damn it, the mystery. Who's A? I need to see it out to the end now to find out who the person who's pulling the strings is.
So they've gone multiple seasons at this point.
It's in season 4 currently.
And they still haven't revealed anything. Do you have your?
The first season they don't really reveal anything. Mm-hmm. They start setting up options basically to get people guessing. At the end of the second season, they reveal that one of the characters, Hannah, she had another friend. Who Hannah used to be fat and kind of nerdy type thing, which I wouldn't really consider her nerdy, just fat. But she had another friend who was in that same boat with her, and then Hannah got into the popular crowd with Allison. Allison was one of those queen bee type girls that are in high school, and brought Hannah in and left her friend out. Her friend was the first person who they kind of proposed seriously as A. Turns out she was A, but she wasn't A. I know that sounds weird, but she was basically having her strings pulled to do these things to the liars, as they're called, the generic name for the group of four. She did not like them, so she was willing to do it, but she was not the mastermind behind the plan. And they have basically since then revealed that there are people who are either being blackmailed or paid to work for whoever is the mastermind, but they haven't revealed who the mastermind is yet, we think. Or they just might have in the last 2 episodes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Of course, they do a weird thing where they do half a season starting midsummer. Then they take a break. They do a Halloween episode. And then they take a break and restart the season in midwinter. And then they do a spring-summer season.
Kind of like Doctor Who.
Yeah. It's annoying. I hate it in both.
Very annoying.
I hate it in Liars and in Doctor Who. So, you get to episode 12 and it's like, skirt! Stop.
Yeah, it's kind of like, so basically what you just said is kind of like, it almost sounds like you like it almost for the same reason that I like Supernatural. Like, it just sounds like it would be a bunch of pretty people playing it. Like, because whenever I hear the term ABC Family attached to something, I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
It just,
and
I have no decision.
Admittedly, it is very ABC Family in that, everyone on the show is gorgeous, but
I don't think there's a single unattractive person in the entire ABC Family lineup.
okay, this is the only show I've ever watched on it from ABC Family.
Every time I see a commercial for him, it's always a bunch of pretty people acting stupid.
Yeah, and
sounds like no exception, but it might actually have a decent plot.
But it has a decent plot. And it's the decent plot. It's not like it is a teen melodrama. I admit that, but it has a decent plot. Not the greatest plot I've ever seen, but a decent plot. And honestly, it's like that mystery hook. I have to find out who A is now. It's that straight up, very old school. You can, every mystery does it mystery hook of trying to. You have to see it through to the end to find out. So, yeah, I'm totally hooked by it because of that. I have to see it through to the end now. So, yeah. Of course, I'm thinking it's only going to go 5 seasons. So, and they're in season 4. Because the first 3 seasons were essentially 1 year per season. Not that they showed the entire year, but they kind of just caught back. It was like after season 1 happened, you caught back up with them a few months later, type thing. But for what I'm guessing is for seasons 4 and 5, because they're all seniors in high school now and are looking at dispersing because they want to go to different colleges and whatnot. So I think they're going to stretch the senior year out into 2 seasons, and everything's going to come to a head around graduation or in the summer before they leave for college or whatever. So I think it's only going to go 5 seasons. I can't see them stretching it out beyond that unless they find some quasi-plausible way to force all the girls to stay in town. But it would be a real stretch.
Community college.
Well, no, there is actually a college. It's a liberal arts college, but there's a college in the town they live in. One of the characters' dads is a professor at it, actually. So, they could pigeonhole them into all going to that college.
Free ride.
Yeah, but it would be hard.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So Pretty Little Liars.
Yep, Pretty Little Liars.
That's funny. It's your ugly, but its title is
Pretty Little Liars. And I have to say, like Dustin was saying, ABC Family, full of gorgeous people. They are pretty.
Another show.
And it also blows me that it's on ABC Family and that there's a lesbian couple in the show. And they're accepted, and they have actually been shown kissing on air.
God bless you, ABC.
I'm just surprised it's ABC Family, which used to be like a straight-laced Christian network. So,
well, the church is broadening their horizons.
Yeah.
Another show that I wanted to put out there, just because I thought of it last minute, because it borders the line of good and ugly, is Todd and the Book of Pure Evil. That is a great show. Just pure entertainment value. It's a quick watch. It's only 2 seasons, I think. It's a Canadian show. And it has Jason Mewes in it.
Oh, awesome.
He has like this little bit part as the janitor, but
it has the Muse.
But it has Mewes.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it. It's a quick watch. You can get through it in a weekend if you're diligent enough. Go watch that. It's fun. So we do have a few suggestions from our audience. Granted, they're my family, but it's people responding as we asked.
Yes.
Even on a last-minute whim. God bless them. From my wife, she states, Jennifer VanCour.
Yes.
On my Facebook page, because I shared our status, TV is so much better than the flicks these days. Downton Abbey, amazing show, by the way. Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, awesome show.
I was holding off on Game of Thrones also. I figured we would probably, hopefully, have like a Game of Thrones episode like towards when the next season comes.
I would hope.
S4 comes out.
Yeah, give me a chance to actually catch up on it too.
Okay, I
need to get through season. I need to.
We'll see. I was expecting a Star Trek episode, so I was watching Star Trek.
Yeah, I know. I have seasons 1 and 2 on Blu-ray, and Mason
Nobody's
provided me.
We love Nikki. We will wait for Nikki to do Star Trek.
Yes.
Oh yes. Anyway, Game of Thrones, True Blood, awesome show. It's funny. I'm noticing that some of the shows here, Sons of Anarchy and Big Bang Theory. Those are all great shows. I like Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Some people have mixed feelings, it seems, towards Big Bang Theory, but
well,
I say whatever. It's fun.
I would say, to me, okay, it is somewhat nerdsploitation. Yes, I went there, nerdsploitation. But at the same time, I just accept it for what it is, a comedy. It is
it's a
sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
I like the funny references. Like, some of the times, like, when they show people, like, getting obsessive about things and stuff, like, I laugh at it, but I know I've gotten obsessive about things before. I'm a nerd. I mean, that's kind of one of our character traits, is we tend to kind of get a little obsessive about things at times.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I think the way it's played up, or not so much played up for some nerds as it is, I think it's funny. It's just, enjoy the show for what it is. Don't freak out if they don't do every little nerdy thing right. It's meant for the mass audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a few jokes and things like that on there that it's like, how would the common person even have a way to understand that one?
They don't put, the thing is, they put those in there for the nerds that watch it.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Keep
going.
Her embarrassing shows include Vampire Diaries, America's Next Top Model, and Once Upon a Time. I wouldn't put Once Upon a Time in that list. Once Upon a Time is a really good show.
I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately. I heard it was pretty neat.
It is pretty neat. Grimm's another one that's really neat, too. Connie, my mother-in-law, she says Modern Family is really good. Drop Dead Diva.
Each to their own opinions.
Yes. And SVU, always. And The Middle. Her Bad, Family Guy, still. And most of the reality shows.
Family Guy is kind of like everybody's bad or ugly.
Well, that's her bad.
That's her bad. She finds it to be bad.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Never mind.
And then my wife responded one more time. A couple that she missed for the good, Firefly and SG-1.
Yeah.
Firefly was definitely one of those. It ended way too soon.
Way too soon.
Yeah. It wasn't given a proper home.
What I think I think what Fox should actually do after the whole fiasco with not wanting to produce Star Wars and then killing off Firefly like they did, if their reaction to a sci-fi show is we don't want to do this, they should stop and then go ahead and fund it. Because if their thought is we don't want to do this, it'll be crappy. When it comes to a sci-fi show, Fox is wrong, and they should do the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We also have on the Nerd Effect page itself, Mr. Luke McManaman.
Hey, Luke.
His good, Walking Dead and Falling Skies. Walking Dead is definitely an amazing show. I haven't seen Falling Skies yet, but
Yeah. I want to. It was one of those things that I didn't know about it until after it started going, and I was like, I don't want to catch up with it right now. So now that there's hopefully seasons out, I can go back and catch up with the whole season at a time.
Yes. That's pretty much how anybody who doesn't have cable watches TV.
Yeah.
Like me.
Mm-hmm.
The Bad Revolution. Revolution is one of those shows I've only caught a few episodes. Like, if I'm making something in the kitchen and it happens to come on, I'll watch bits and pieces of it. And it doesn't look too amazing, but for some reason it's really popular on TV.
I have mixed feelings about it throughout the whole first season. Like, how the power went off. Okay, cool. Okay, fine. There was a scientific explanation for how the power went off because of the nanites and stuff. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Because what I was looking for was how humans are persevering and reconstructing societies after a massive collapse of society.
Mm-hmm.
And then they turn the power back on for a moment. Bad shit happens. They turn the power back off a little too late, but okay, fine. End of the first season. Second season rolls around a few months later. I'll give them that, because a few months later, move on to something after the initial oh crap of the power coming back on and everyone freaking out for a little while. Okay, now it's going on all well and good. They go to kill off a main character. I'm pissed that they're killing off a main character. They don't kill him off. Instead, the nanites bring him back to life, kind of like a Jesus thing. Oh, and the girl he's now dating is really religious, so she's seen it as a miracle from God that he's alive. And I'm like, damn it. Not that, like, okay, I mean, I get that people, especially after like technology fails, people believing more heavily or reverting back to religion to give them solace and explanation, because the human mind wants things it can believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And if science failed us that horribly, a lot of people who were on the fence would probably go back towards religion, and a lot of religious people would become more would find a stronger belief in religion, I guess is a good way to put it. But, like, he knows what's going on. He tries to explain it to her. She still calls it a miracle, even though she's not an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
At least they haven't shown her to be an idiot, just religious. Because the two are not the same thing. And, so I'm like, oh, and she's going to go this whole, and people are going to start calling, if people start calling him a Messiah or something, or taking it as only as a miracle from God, even though he and other people know exactly what happened, including a doctor and a scientist who worked on the project. I mean, granted, they can't necessarily tell everyone about the project, because people are like, no, just turn it off or whatever, turn it back on or whatever. But yeah, I was like, it's done, it's over. They've already kind of done. I mean, the problem is this is J.J. Abrams, and after Lost, I'm not surprised that he had someone come back from the dead. But yeah, but I gave it until this season, and then when they had a character resurrected by the nanites, I was like, nope, done.
And his ugly was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
How is that an ugly, Luke? Really? How?
It's a beautiful thing. Look at the plane. Look at the paint job. Oh my God!
And it's the same paint job that's on the Lexus SUV too.
Oh, to be fair, I didn't exactly explain what the ugly was in the post.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably something more like he's probably looking at it as like a popcorn type of, like no real substance, but it's just really fun to watch.
Yeah,
I imagine is probably what he's getting at. But
I'm getting benefit of doubt.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are from people, and
yes.
We are running this podcast. Whew! Just over 2 hours.
All right.
So we're gonna wrap this bad boy up.
That's all, folks.
Yeah. Well, let's get some exciting news.
Yes.
You can listen to our podcast not only on our website, you can also listen on to Mixcloud, YouTube, iTunes, and TuneIn app, and most recently, like quite literally, as I put it up on Facebook a few moments ago, we are now part of the Stitcher radio network.
Yay!
Yay! Lots of rejoicing. That's the one I've been working hard to get, so I was pretty happy to get that out there.
Nice.
I just really wish I had a way of monitoring the analytics of these couple of websites, especially TuneIn and Stitcher, because I can only monitor what's basically downloaded from the site through iTunes, and
right.
So, but we'll see. Maybe my analytics will change a little bit on my feed reader after this. I know Matt, when he was working on, or Max was working on the TuneIn thing. He was able to pull some numbers for me. Like I guess our 10th episode had 10 or 15 downloads through their site.
Nice.
But I don't know if those were reflecting on our site.
Right.
So, because I don't know how streaming works so much as a download. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be a little different. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not sure how that works. It'll show you how
some differences. I don't know details. I know there's little differences though, definitely.
Okay.
Well, also, I mean, if you're listening to this and you're not downloading it, you're streaming it from one of the other sites, go to Facebook. Give us a like there.
Let us know you're listening.
Yeah, like us. You know how fun it is to like something?
Us.
We hope you like us.
You want to be our friend.
Even if Mike's being creepy about it. But
We promise we'll keep Mike locked in the closet.
Yeah, we'll lock the key on his cage for you.
Do I gotta wear the gimmick again?
No.
You follow us on Twitter, NerdEffectPod, at NerdEffectPod. Facebook.com/NerdEffect. Fucking Google site.
We have one.
G+, it's there. We have one. It's got pretties on it, but I've posted maybe one thing to it since I've had it. Man, what else? Man, I feel like there's emails.
Ready.
Feedback at nerdeffect.com. If you want to haunt us personally, you can email me at dustin@nerdeffect.com. And
We got Mike at nerdeffect.com.
Mason at nerdeffect.com. And also I'd like to note for Nikki, because unfortunately she, like we said earlier, she couldn't be here tonight because one of her fur babies is feeling very sick, and we hope it gets better. But you can now email her at nikki@nerdeffect.com.
she now has her own email address.
Yes.
It's
Nikki.
Nikki, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she's got that one spelling.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of it. I mean, can you spell Nikki any other way?
Niki.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's
And
true.
you can use, well...
You know the
You know
way
what?
little
Let's
Nikki
not get
spells it.
into where
No.
the other letters are, because we'll get it confused. It's Nikki. That's all you need to know.
At nerdeffect.com.
At nerdeffect.com, right. Fine.
Yes, it's on her phone, so,
And I sent her a
so blow it up.
Yeah.
I sent her a nerdeffect.com email from my nerdeffect.com email address about the nerdeffect.com podcast. It was like a triple rainbow of nerdeffect.com.
It's total meta, dude. I sent her a Nerd Effect email as well.
Oh my god. It's just spreading.
I think that I'm going to have to send her a picture of the podcast from my Nerd Effect email address to her native Nerd Effect email address while and also have an attachment of kit days.
What about that? Wait.
How about if we wrap the podcast up here
No.
real quick? No? Okay.
Yeah, because we're gonna do this shit right now.
Oh, we're going to sell it. Okay.
All right. There's a portable selfie. I'll post right to the Nerd Effect page because we're all users. Yay!
So anyway, folks, thanks for
epic
hanging out with
selfie.
us again.
Yes, as always, I am one of your intrepid hosts, Dustin VanCour, and I was joined by my buddies.
Michael Morgan.
And Mason Ireland.
And for those about to nerd, as always, we salute you.